You give it right now, like just a quick rating. Give me a review.
Mm, me,
Yeah,
it's 4 for me.
4. Okay, what would make it a 5-star?
But to make it the 5 star, next time, yeah.
Okay,
In the future.
what would more serious look like?
From the guild to be a chapter,
Oh,
probably.
I see. Okay, got it. Okay, so evolution into Cynthia, do you have any revenue management sort of material that we can look at together?
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's just like I call it draft because
No
I
worries.
just discussed it with Alvin and we haven't had any further discussion.
Hmm.
But okay, I will share it. Yes. Wait. I need to open the revenue guild report first.
Sir, this is revenue management guild.
Yes.
Yes. Would you like to come? Oh, okay. Fantastic. Come on in, Trish. All right, Trish would like to join us today. So, all right. So what we're gonna do, Tris, is Cynthia will show us some of her work, and we'll take a look and see how she's doing.
Hi, Tris.
Hi, Cynthia.
All right, how you doing, Tris? Are you staying cool?
Or
Okay. Okay. All right.
Anyway, you're
sorry,
right.
sorry.
Yeah.
Wait.
It's good, it's good.
Sorry, sir. It takes a little bit long.
Sure. Okay. Let's go into some practice then. What I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna move to another machine. This machine currently is recording, so I'll move over to the machine next to me. That way we can fly through some of the practice. Yeah. So Tristan and I will move over, and in the meantime we'll mute out so that we don't have a. Okay. All right. Cynthia, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Very
perfect. Okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna share the other screen now. Tableau only shows you. Okay, so the lesson right now is something that's really important in revenue management. It's the ability to look for inconsistencies in the data. It's the ability to look at data quality. So as a revenue manager, you're only as good as the tools that you use. But if your tools are like malfunctioning or whatnot, a good revenue manager should be able to say, hey, my tool's not working right, and be able to detect it, right? Let's say your tool is a knife and you're chopping vegetables. When the knife is dull, you'll be like, huh, this isn't working. You should be able to say, hey, there's something wrong with the knife, it's dull and it needs to be sharpened, right? So, oh, okay, all right. Let me.
Yeah, so I think I need to have
Can I pass this over to you?
of
This is
this
like, I guess,
specifically
okay. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So we have a doubt about our tool right now. We think our tool might be dull. So where do we go to check if this tool is reporting accurately, Cynthia?
Mm, um, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't have anything.
No worries. Here, just go to the all hands, right? Go to the all hands because we made a sales projection, remember, at the beginning of the month? So that's over here. And what I expect to see in the sales projection is I expect to see what the starting initial revenue for November was, right? And then I can compare it with my starting revenue now. The graph is telling me the starting revenue is how much now, Tris?
Three, 306.
Right, it's 306. Okay. Cynthia, do you think of that?
Uh, I, we can look at the previous month.
Ah, but
Okay.
before you even look at the previous month, you'll know. You'll know because our target was.
Our target was below
Yeah.
the number.
So why would we set a target that's below what we started the month with, right? That doesn't make any sense. So we don't even need to check right now. We know that it's wrong. We know that, not that it's wrong, it could be two possibilities here. There's this thing called underreporting, and there's a thing called overreporting. Tris, what do you think overreporting means?
Our reporting is like too much report. No?
Okay, good start. Let's go to Cynthia. What do you think overreporting means?
Reporting is kind of like the data that we report, or the data that is reported
Mhm.
is like too much. I mean, like the amount is overrate
Exactly.
of the actual.
Exactly. So there's a reality out there, right? And our tools are trying to figure out what that reality is. So an over-report is telling you that there's more than is actually there, and an under-report is telling you that there is
Under there.
yeah, less. Exactly. So my suspicion right now is that there's over-reporting here, right? That essentially this shows data that is not actually there. I would love to have this be true. If we're at really 404, that would be amazing. Right, because right, we're like 50% over the target rate. But let's go ahead and this is how I would start my analysis. I would start looking back and seeing how like accurate this is. Okay, so does this look about right to you? Does this look believable to you? Okay, so in August we got about 445. September was 366. October is 378. Now November is 404. Does that seem right, or does it seem not so right?
Not so right.
Why? Okay, Cynthia, very good. Why does it seem not so right?
Because we as the operational thing, like this is the low season, and then why the amount is higher than the previous month.
Right. So it seems a little bit odd. It seems a little bit odd that this is 404 right now, right? By the end of the month, it might be even higher. Is it likely that November will be the same revenue as August?
I'm not sure.
Not sure, but okay, let's take a look at some of the booking pace too to see if that all makes sense. In the past 30 days, we've been getting between 66 and up to 97 bookings. It looks like the median is maybe perhaps around 80, right? I'm looking just across the line. So we see that, okay, there's maybe 80 or so. So no, because look back in October, we were getting bookings up to 94 to 100 bookings a day, and now we are far less, getting between 66 and 86 bookings a day. So the overall pace of bookings has dropped, so we wouldn't expect necessarily higher revenue in a month that is such and such. Okay, all right, so we have, our intuition tells us maybe this data is not correct, which is good, right? So when your tools are broken, go and do bug report and just let them go and sharpen the tool, right? This means that this tool is essentially dull right now and it's not as good as it could be. And so revenue report looks a little bit over-reported, right? Okay, great. So that way the tool makers can work on it. Let's go back to Kinten, right? Now we know, just by the way, that Kinten's revenue might not be reflected accurately too now. So you have some sensibility about that, and you're going into using your tool at least with some good intuition. So you're not like foolish. You're not like, oh, my tool's fine, right? You're like, maybe my tool is not entirely dependable for this particular attribute, the revenue attribute. Okay? Does that actually affect the way we do revenue management for Kinten?
Yeah.
A little bit, because it tells us if we're getting closer to our forecast or not. But does it really change our day-to-day behavior? The end monthly revenue.
Yeah, I just like check the topic, and then if there's a gain, then I just change the price.
Right. So our day-to-day behavior doesn't really change based on this particular data point. We would still do the same because our decision tree, right, doesn't look at the monthly revenue. Right?
Yeah.
Our decision tree only looks at occupancy, empty dates, booking pace, all these things. So that's why this doesn't really matter. Okay? So it's a part of the tool that is broken, but it's a part of the tool that's broken, but doesn't affect what's called the critical path. What, Cynthia, do you think does critical path mean?
Critical path is kind of like the night that we saw in the cave night, or maybe how many nights that we fell.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Very good. We're here to learn and grow together. Remember, growth, right? The more questions you have, the better. At some point, it would be even better if Tris asked me, what is critical path? So right now, I'm just asking. Okay? All right. Critical path is the set of decisions that are crucial to success, right? So these are the least amount of decisions that you need to make in order to get the most impact. So literally, it is the it's like the critical path is what's the first decision you're going to make, what's the second decision you're going to make, what's the third decision you're going to make, what's the fourth decision you're going to make. That is a critical path. When we do revenue management, we go down that decision path and we find out what to do. All right, so I'm going to do something fun today. Hopefully, Cynthia will benefit from this, but I'm going to build a decision tree from how Cynthia goes about. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at Kintan. We're going to split the screen. Oh, just out of curiosity, do we go into new topics too quickly, Cynthia?
New topics, no.
Okay. And so I don't want this to be ever boring. So I try to like think of a way where we're always adding like a little bit more information than what we talked about last time. And so we've done the revenue management control before, right? Like we've all done. But let's today try this. Let's try building a decision tree from that process. Okay. So what does a decision tree look like? Wait, let's see if we can build a decision tree. Build a decision tree. Okay. Graphic. It might be a program.
Kind of mind map.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mind map. Very good, very good. All right, there's a free tree diagram maker right here, so we can just create the decision tree. Great, fantastic. Let's hope we don't need too much nonsense there. Okay, so Cynthia looks at Kinton normally, right? So we're just gonna fire up Kinton, and we're gonna set it to sign up and start creating. Oh, do I need to sign up? Okay, all right. Jing.
Use for this.
Yeah, there's no rules. Oh, here it is. Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. Very good point. Okay, more spam into our main folder box now. Okay. You want email still here? Okay. So let's go with this. You were U1, right? You were here.
Yeah.
Okay. Crazy. That seemed like years ago now. All right. So create your decision tree, and what we'll do is we'll go through a decision tree. So. We wait for the decision tree to happen. Cynthia, what should I put in here?
In the revenue, Kinton.
Yes, let's put in Kinton. Very good. Okay, I would say right now I have too much information. Yes. Do I need to look at the last 60 days?
Last 30 days.
Okay.
1 month.
No, we can even look even quicker. Cynthia, what is a more focused way to look at the booking days? How many days can we put it?
Last 7 days.
Last 7 days, even better, right? So we're always tracking how many bookings we're taking in the past week. And that gives us an idea of what our ranking is, right? Based on that. Okay, and in the revenue, should we look at the last 12 months or should we set a different filter? Cynthia?
6 months.
Okay, last 6 months. Not even. We can be even more focused than that. We can look at maybe the next
3 months.
Yes, we can look at the next 3 months because we know that essentially people are booking today and into the future. And after 3 months, you can see. Let's go 5. Yeah, and you should never look at past. Why should you not look at past? So Cynthia.
Because it has been passed.
It has been passed. So there's really no. It's like spilled milk. There's no way you can put it back in. Nothing you can do about it. So you report to an owner the past, but you do for the owner for the future, right? So only really look at the future. Those are essentially the targets that we're going to look after. Okay, so we have this now. We have our weekly sales, and we have this as our dashboard, our focused dashboard at Kinton. Now, Cynthia, what do you think about this property? Is it doing well, or could it be doing better?
Actually, it could be doing better.
Right. And why do you feel that way, Cynthia? Why do you feel like it could be doing better?
Okay. First of all, we can see the booking page. The booking page is so. I think it's not really good because we just like get one booking and it's not every day that we can go and we can get one booking every day.
Yes. Okay. Fantastic.
And
Great. So that's kind of like the first step in our decision tree, right? Oh my goodness, this is maybe this is too complicated. Yeah. But okay, well let's play with this. Let's play with this. So this is the Kinton decision tree. Okay, so we're gonna sort of just delete everything that isn't necessary. We're gonna delete that. No, wait. We actually shouldn't delete everything. Actually, we can keep it. Hey, we can keep it. That's what it's there for, right? It's a template. So okay, the first stage is kind of an investigation, right? And so the very first thing we think about is we look at what the booking pace, right? Right.
Mm.
The very thing is we look at the booking pace. If the booking pace is high, which we
Revenue?
the revenue, we can look at the revenue first, right? But there's another thing that's even more fundamental to urgency, to doing something today. What is
The
that?
deadline?
The what?
The
gap
deadline?
index. Right. So we should know the okay. Let's say the first consideration is we take a look. Sorry, I'm selecting booking pace. Believe me, but it's not changing. Okay. So the very first thing we should look for is it's probably the occupancy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The occupancy in the next 10 days. We need to give it some sort of maybe next 7 days. Yeah. Let's just pick a number. Okay. So we'll pick a number. We look at the occupancy in the next 7 days, and we see how we're doing. Okay. So all right. If the occupancy in the next 7 days is high, what should we do?
It's fine. And then we keep the price.
Yeah, we can keep the price, right? Okay, and then if the occupancy is low, what should we do?
Lower the price.
Yeah, consider a discount, right? Okay. And then you have to consider, okay, is it a high discount or is it a low discount, right? All right. So what would actually warrant a high discount? Unoccupied room in 1 to 2 days, right? Right. What would a low discount?
Yes.
We know that, right? We already know the occupancy is low, right? And we consider a discount, but we're not going to give a high discount, right? In this situation, why would we? What circumstance would we not give a high discount?
Okay. Right.
When the time is close.
No, we would give a high discount. We would give a high discount if the runway was very short. If the runway was very short, that would actually occupy maybe on. This is short runway, right? So this is expire, okay? But let's say we don't want to give a high discount. We might consider a low discount. We might consider a low discount when?
There's any fun there?
Right. There could be an event there. There could be some sort of activity happening on those dates. So we could say maybe there's an event happening, right? Okay. So an event happening probably might do that. But then let's say we know the event's happening, but something else is not happening. Let's say the booking pace, right? So if the booking pace is happening, if the booking pace is high, then what should we do? We're thinking of the low discount. So if we have some empty rooms, but there's a high booking pace, I'll copy this little graphic here. Okay. Right. So this results in an outcome of keep the price, right? Okay. But let's say, I don't know, let's move this over here. This is the first time I'm using this, by the way, so I don't know. Yes, okay, it worked exactly the way it should have worked. Okay, let's say the booking pace is low. Then, is there anything else you should check for before you decide discount? Maybe the owner, right? If the owner is okay, maybe you do a 50% discount. Maybe if the owner is not okay, then no change in price, right? Make sense? So that's an example of a decision tree, right? That's how we can actually create a decision tree from the very top. Now, here's a good question. What would make this decision more efficient? What would make this tree more efficient? How do we get, let's say, more?
Yeah. Just because when you are right here, you already know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right here, already know what to do. So that's more make efficient.
Yeah. Right. So now we know what condition we have and what to do in each particular decision, right? So that makes it easy for revenue managers in the future to do their job, right? Okay. All right. So let's go over here. Let's think for this particular property. Go.
Oh, okay. So basically, I like consult and discuss about the price to the kingdom owner, and actually she doesn't want sell homes below 250,000.
Okay.
So yeah, so I just keep the price tag,
Mhm.
but yeah, I'm making for the multiple and also the single listing.
Okay, fantastic, very good. So that's okay, right? Some owners have that, and we know that that's a big difference. So we actually can change the root node right here, right? So before we even have a decision here, we should probably have this as the first decision, right? Is the owner actually okay with changing the price? And if the owner is not okay, then really there's really no discussion anymore, right? Is there? So that can be one of our first decisions. So how do I create that event? Whoops, I didn't mean to duplicate that. Sorry. Okay, what I meant to do was I meant to put it. Oh, wait, interesting. Oh, okay, all right. Ooh, wow. This is like Canva for decision trees. So let me put this up at the top. I think the first decision you have to make before you go here is not booking pace, but owner limit, right? So
Um,
yes.
I think it could be different from one property to other property.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why this is the Kinton decision tree.
Mm.
Yeah. So actually no. Every property, let's say that has an owner limitation on it, would have the same decision tree, right? And every property that didn't have it would have a different decision tree. Okay, this is not bad, right? But Cynthia, let me show you one trick that we learned about owner decisions from Benny, who came to the November 11th conference. So Benny talked about, okay, this is a little sideways, right? Do you know what OpX is?
Oh, okay.
Okay, what is OpX?
I didn't.
Okay, so OpEx is essentially operating expenses, right? And hotels talk about owners when you engage with them. You can say, "Hey, I know what you're facing. You're facing OpEx, right? Your OpEx, the largest cost contributor is your labor, and after that, energy, and after that, marketing, and after that, software. Because you see all this stuff. This is what we want to do in the future, right? We want to sell all this type of services,
That's gonna end.
business relationship management, business intelligence." All this stuff can be what Bukit Vista does in the future. So, anyways, so these are all your operational expenses. Now, great properties, as we learned from Benny, should only have 20% of their revenue go to operating expenses. So if they take, let's say, restaurants operate by this principle too. Great restaurants should only have about 30% of their expenses in food, 30% in labor and costs, and 30% in profits, right? In owner whatever. So if you don't have any revenue, then your operating expenses is also kind of zero too, right? You have to see it as operating expenses is a portion of revenue, not independent of revenue. That makes sense, right? So if, let's say, for example, you want OpEx to be 10%, but let's say, for example, OpEx can be 100% of your revenue if you're empty. Let's say you're empty and you sell only one room night and you sold it for $200, but your operation expenses for the month was $200. So then you really didn't do anything. You just essentially spent 100% of your money on your operations. Right. So I think this statistic in the future will be a very, very powerful statistic to help owners understand how they're doing, right? So once they understand it's revenue first and then OpEx reduction afterwards, then they feel much more comfortable, right? They can see, oh, my revenue is this, I spend 20% on OpEx. But if they don't have any control or any understanding what OpEx is, then they're afraid, right? They're thinking like, if I sell it for cheap, I won't be able to pay my operations. But it's really the opposite, right? Because no matter what, you have fixed costs at the end of the day. You still need to pay labor and you still need to pay energy. And energy bills, for the most part, the biggest thing are, what's the biggest energy bill?
Electricity
For which item?
or like when.
Nope. No, the lights are not the biggest energy consumption. It's something else at the property. Cynthia knows, right? Cynthia, what's the biggest line item for electricity on, let's say, any property that we have? No, internet is not the most expensive. Internet, yes, internet is another fixed cost. Internet you pay for no matter how much you use, right? Internet is a fixed cost. But there's one big item for electricity, and it's shared. It's pretty much the same across all properties, and it's usually the largest electricity bill item.
Hmm. I forgot. Operation.
But what operation? What is operating constantly at this guest house villa?
Electricity.
Yeah. Something that burns electricity every day. Cynthia?
Hot water?
Kind of. Hot water, if you don't run it, it heats it up, but it stays. It's running the hot water that actually rolls it up. It's generally not, it could be hot water if the operation is, yes, Cynthia's right. If it is actually in operation, the fixed cost, the variable cost is hot water. Hot water can get very expensive. But there's one major fixed item cost, and it runs all the time. And it doesn't matter if you have guests or not, it will keep on consuming electricity. Yes, it's the pool pump. The pool pump is the number one line item on an electricity bill for a property that is, whether it's running or not, it's usually about 2 or 3 million, I think, for a pool pump to run all month. It's pretty expensive because it's moving the entire water through 12 hours a day. The water is heavy, so it's not like, okay, anyways, because of the pool pump with revenue managers. So knowing this will help. This is how Red Doors gets their properties, apparently. Our oil and Red Doors, they go to properties that have huge OpEx, and they say, what is your OpEx? And the owner's like, I don't know what that means. And so what they say is, how much percentage of your costs are you paying with your revenue? And it's shocking. Sometimes it's like 60% in very low occupancy hotels. So they can essentially pay 60% of their revenue into operations. It's because it's empty, right? And then oil will show them, well, you have all these empty rooms, right? And you're selling at this rate. But you can sell 100% of them at this rate. And then your revenue will be this, and then your OpEx is smaller. So that means as an owner, you get more profit, and you become happier. And you're like, yeah, that's great. I like that. So this is a different way of revenue management persuasion from the operation side up, not from the revenue side up. Okay, let's talk about Kintan now. Cynthia, okay, so Kintan, we really can't do anything now, can we?
No.
Okay, but there is something we should be able to do, Cynthia. If we can't go down anymore, then we can only go up, right?
Mhm.
Right, so where can we go up? Hi, Rizal, welcome in. Where could we possibly go up?
Go up. Yeah, I think we could possibly go up further.
Right. No, I mean, would you go up right now? Right? Would you go up?
Oh,
on
did
the
I
rate
know?
right now? Yeah, you got it. You got it. Right. So don't despair. Don't go like, oh, yeah, I can't do it. If you can't go down, then you can only go up. So then just go up on the dates that you anticipate will be busy. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So then what we do is let's look at the rates and see if Cynthia has gone up. Yeah?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think I set the price if I'm not mistaken.
All right, let's go ahead and see if that is correct. Remember, revenue managers are always doing experiments, right? You really don't know whether or not you're right or not, but just remember you did the experiment and when you did it and what kind of outcome you were looking for. Do you remember, Cynthia, when you set the high prices for December?
13th of November or 12th November. Yeah, around. Yeah.
Okay. The rates are unchanged for December. There's
Oh, okay. So I haven't set 14th on, I think.
Okay, great. So the December rates are right now $250 as well.
Yeah, it's still 250.
Right.
250,000.
Is that a good thing or is that not a good thing?
Not a good thing.
Well, why is it not a good thing, Tris?
Good thing.
Yeah. Cynthia's selling December, New Year's Eve nights for the same price that she's selling for November. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Is the price for November?
Yeah.
That's
This is the default price. So this price now applies to all of every night
Yeah.
that does not have a setting.
Okay. Not a good thing because the price is same as high season on November.
Right.
December.
Right. So perfect. Thank you very much. So basically, what you can do on the decision tree, you can still make decisions, right? So the great part is that if the owner has a limit, welcome in, Rizal. So what we're doing is we're making decision trees. So let's see. What did I do? Sorry. This is the first time I'm using a decision tree, so excuse me if I'm a little bit clumsy on it. I've never used a decision tree thing like this before, ever. So knowing is that if the owner, geez, hey,
Yes, that's
yes, I
amazing.
found it. Okay, all right. So ta-da! Oh wow!
This is-
Okay, all right. I'm gonna decision tree like crazy now. All right, I'm gonna erase this whole thing.
yeah, I just did it.
Yeah, I'm gonna delete it all. Okay, and then after I delete it all, then I'm gonna start my block. Oops, no, that's not what I wanted. Uh-oh. Oh! Ooh! Okay, icon. Except that there's no icons. Alright, I screwed myself.
Yeah,
Diagram maybe? No, I can't see anything. Okay.
yeah, you just copy paste it.
Okay, no worries. No, we'll just go back a few steps, right? So what I'll do is I'll just delete all the crap that I don't need. All right, and then I'll go over here. I'll delete this crap that I don't need, and then I'll delete this crap that I don't need. Oh wait, this one I can kind of keep, and we will build a decision tree from scratch. Okay, so here we go. Let's say the very first part of our decision is, does the owner allow a discount, right? Does the owner allow discounts? Okay, all right. And that can be either two directions, right? It can be, let's see if they give me, do they give me a choice? Okay, so let's say, sorry, this is kind of messy, but let's say they say yes, right? The owner does allow for discounts, right? Then you can kind of connect to this, right? Ooh, I just block it? Okay, whoops. Yeah, I'm trying to move the, huh?
Move
Sorry.
from center, sir.
Move from center,
Yes.
like that?
No, from the arrow from the center beside high and low.
Beside high and low, move it from the center. Oh. I hear, yeah, duh, right? Yeah, like James a moron now. Okay, all right. Yeah, don't tell anybody I messed that up. They're self-conscious.
You record this.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So. Okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. That's all screwed up now. But all right. So okay. There. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. So no. Okay. Let's say, for example, let's go back to Kingston now. The owner does not allow for a discount. So then you cannot consider a discount, but you can consider what? Consider a raise. Yeah. Make sense now? So instead of thinking about discount, then all you should think about is when to raise. Yeah? Because we might as well do something. So then when you consider a raise, what's the next thing you can consider? Whoops, sorry. Okay, so you need to consider what dates to raise, right? Okay, and then after you consider what dates, what goes into that decision, I guess, let's see, you can look for two ways, right? Ooh, let's see, here we go again. What dates to raise? Let's go to Rizal. Rizal, how would we decide what dates to raise at Kinto? What would be the most smart way to do that? But how do we know the high season?
And
How do we know from Tableau? Rizal looks like he just ate a chili pepper.
I don't know, sir.
Okay, right. So Trish is running on about like booking pace, all this stuff. Booking pace, we can't see what dates people are booking for, but we sure can through insights and Price distribution, right? So we can go to insights price distribution and we can look at squad 4 and we can filter it to Nusa Penida. And we can look maybe not in the next 60 days, but maybe just in the next 30 days, right? And oh, maybe that's not enough. Let's go into the next 60 days. All right. Yeah. Okay. What do you see over here, guys? Do the prices seem to be going up or down around this time? Up, right? Up. And look at the regression line. All right. The regression line has a low R-squared value, but it is going up, which is good, right? Maybe you can also dilute it a little bit more and just focus on guest houses. I guess everything's a guest house, so that doesn't really show. But you can see from this graph here, it goes up, and then it kind of goes down after January 19th, right? So that gives you a little bit of a clue when the dates at least start becoming more popular. So when do you think the dates start changing, Chris? When should we start applying high season rates? Okay, if we wanted to try applying high season rates, maybe we could start here. But when does it really start picking up? What's the highest? Okay, up here, yeah? Right, so around December 28th, right? That is kind of like the dates that we can apply. So let's go back up to the decision graph, and we just look for essentially price, lots of book. Maybe choose the median price, yeah? Does that, sorry, I did a little bit of magic here. This cluster is where we see kind of like the highest rates.
Wow.
Right, this is where most of the activity is happening. But if we pick the median, it would be kind of crazy too, right? So maybe we should do this. Maybe we should kind of eliminate all these big, huge, entire guest house bookings, which I think that's what these are, right? Rizal, do you think these are entire guest house bookings? Who's paying 342 for? Oh, 5 bedrooms, yeah. The multi-unit bookings. Okay, so we probably should eliminate all the multi-unit bookings because this data is skewing our results. So we'll exclude that data. Okay, now we have a more, okay, all right. Now it's a little bit even harder to see. Okay, so when we look here, what I'm trying to see is if there's a lot of dots on which date, right? I'm kind of looking here. Let me sort of. I know this is normal. If you feel confused, so do I. Right? So that's part of the whole growth process. The more times you feel confused and eventually you figure it out, the smarter you get. So that's part of the. It's good. It's like chili pepper. Right. So anyhow, I can eat a Carolina Reaper without feeling pain anymore. By the way, I just eat that whole thing. I feel nothing. Wrong. Okay. Anyway, I guess you can look at the density of bookings, right? If you look at that density of bookings, and then you versus, actually, why don't we just take a look at, let's say, the density of bookings over here, and follow those kind of, okay, hard to tell. Okay, no worries. If it's hard to tell, oh, that could be part of our decision tree, right? Okay, lots of bookings. Maybe we put this as a three-way branch, yeah? So what I'd like to do is maybe there's lots of bookings as one way, and maybe there's another way. Ooh, yeah, third branch. Ah, this line is attached. Yeah, that's great. Okay, lots of bookings. Maybe it's unclear. Yeah, that could happen. All right, like maybe it's ambiguous. Okay. What should we do if it's ambiguous, Cynthia? How do we set the dates then over here?
We can set it on the table. Oh, sorry. Do you mean on this little kit on the yeah, we can do that. We open it for the kingdom room 1.
Yep.
And then we could go to the red tables and then add rate and standard.
Okay, standard. All right. But what should we'll call this December peak season, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's a default rate, right? And this is the question now. How do we decide when to start the peak season?
based on the price distribution.
Yeah, we can look at the price distribution. Can you see clearly when the peak season starts on the price distribution?
I think it started around the early of December.
Early of December? Okay, yeah, there's a lot of bookings there. Yep. So do you want to start it on December 1st?
Yes.
Okay, all right, start for December 1st. When do you want to end it?
And then we could end it on January
Okay, January what day?
on 15.
Okay, 15, 17, okay, fine. All right, and then you got to pick a price. What price do you want to pick?
Uh, 350.
350. 350. I like this. Okay, sure. Why not? 350 gets you about here at $30. But what do you see here actually? Do you feel? Let's take a look around at the data. These are the properties that have been booked at $42, right? So that's almost 500,000. Actually, I'm not really sure. 40 USD to the IDR is 560,000. Myrta Beach has been booked at that. Is Kintan close to Myrta Beach in quality or desirability from the guest perspective?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Is it like half?
Mm.
No.
No, because Meta Beach has a beachfront and
Is it like
we can snorkel there.
is it like
And
Songchang?
then something no,
Is
it's
it-
different.
Okay. Is it like Warisan Homestay?
No, it's like Picadia.
It's like
Meta more like
Picadia.
Picadia.
Okay. I can't filter by Picadia. Bamboo Bungalows, Saudi Garden, Bamboo Bungalows, Box House.
Yeah, Kintan will be more like box house.
Box House. Okay. So there you have it, right? There you have what essentially your category is. It's probably something around this $20 mark, but you're trying right now at 30, which is okay because you still got some time, right? So you can go ahead and create that. All right, how many guests can stay there, Cynthia? Two. Okay, so then you can create that. My question is, Cynthia, why are we not using group rates at Kintan?
Well, I just take Kintan for this month,
Mhm.
and then yeah, I just like do the usual things like the cookies.
Oh, I see. Would you be happy if I made it into group rates today?
Yeah, and I like to learn about that too.
All right, so let's go ahead and learn how to do that. All right, Rizal, you know how to make group rates already, right? Okay, so see, your boy's right there, man. You can just say, Rizal, show me how. But okay, let's say you didn't know how, so you're just gonna go ahead and select all 5 Kinton rentals right there, and you're gonna give it a name. It's gonna be like the Kinton rates family, right? It's a default rate, and once again, this goes back to what we were just talking about, right? So let's go ahead and repeat that. So we repeat it only one time, so we don't have to do it 5 times for all the different Kintons, right? So that means you can do 5 times as much damage and 5 times as much good. The scale goes up. Okay, you go from December 1st to December 31st, and you're sending at 350,000, right? 2 people, and you create the rate, and that goes in. Now, when you look at Kinton, the group rate should be set over here. You see the G? Easy as pie, right? Okay, I'm going to delete that now because I totally forgot and I was a moron and accidentally deleted it. So, oh God, I can't delete it from here because I have to go back to the group rate. So, all right, let's go back to the group rate. I'll go to the Kinton family group rate. Whoops, how do I find Kinton? Maybe here, Kinton? All right. So I'm going to delete it. Walk me through. Tell me how I should create a new group rate starting from here.
Okay.
Okay, you're good. Okay. Okay, where should I begin?
Should be in the one of the room
Okay.
or one of the talkie channels here.
No. How should I begin? How do I start the group rates? Yeah, Rizal knows. He's like, ha, 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 ha. Okay.
Should we go to edit?
Edit. Very good. After I hit edit, what do I look for?
Group rate.
Very good. All right. That's my parson. All right. After that, we go to categories. So all categories. And after that, where should we go?
We should go for the add group rate
Okay, add group rates, fantastic. Add standard or dynamic?
standard.
Okay, standard group rate. And then first thing we do is select the rental. So what are we doing?
Yeah, we choose team one, we like short team one.
Okay, which one should I select?
We select the Kindle room 1 until 5.
Okay, Kinta 1 until 5, great. And then what do we call this?
Name the group name, like rate for December.
Okay, very good. And then we set it for December from the 1st until the 31st. And then we set it for 350. Okay, and then it's been created, right? Okay, so you've done your job as revenue manager now, right? So you were unable to change the rates that you couldn't change because there's an owner block on it, but you still could change the rates that you could change. So you're more powerful now, right? You're not like, oh, I can't do anything about it. You can still do something about it, which is great. So let's go back over to now the room 1. And what should we do with room 1 now?
Sorry.
Yeah.
When will we push the rate?
I forgot. Thank you. Good point. Thank you. Before we push rates, should we keep this rate here? The individual rate that we set?
No.
All right, so what should we do?
Delete it.
Okay, delete it. Okay, great. What should we do? To be very good revenue managers, we need to document. So what should we do?
We screenshot it
Right.
on the PR.
Excellent. And then you push all the rates out. Okay? So then the rates fly out into the real world, and that's done. Now let me ask Rizal on this because I'm not too sure. Rizal, on a situation like this, do I need to push it on everything?
Just make sure I push all the.
Oh yeah?
Yes, just make sure.
Okay, sounds good. It's better to be sure than to be like wrong later. Okay,
Yeah.
let's double check something, Cynthia. Let's check if we have any mistakes. So a mistake would be set at peak season. What would that look like?
It's probably the price on the Airbnb and the listing.
No, not quite, not quite. What would, let's say the mistake we're looking for is underpricing a property, right? We sold the property too cheap. So what would that mistake look like right now?
Underpricing.
Mhm.
Well, the property is not sold by the exact price. I mean, like, how to arrange it? I mean, like, the property is not sold with the good price.
Right, but what would that look like? How do we see, what does failure look like? Let's say, for example, by underselling the property.
Okay, the price is lower, and
Yeah.
then when the partner receives the notification, they will ask like, why you sold my room
Right,
with this kind of price.
but that's too late already, right? That's sort of like a condition of unable to forecast. Yeah, true. So that's one feedback loop, right? The partner complains about it. But the other way you can look at it is this. Just kind of scroll over here and double check, have you sold peak season date? I think somebody sold these days, right? Was it us or was it the owner?
I think that's us because that's icon.
Okay. I hope we sold these for a good rate. But anyhow, for the most part, Cynthia, it looks like you're okay, actually. Kinta, from Christmas until New Year's, is still empty. So it looks like you dodged the bullet in this case, so you should feel relief. You should feel, right? You didn't actually undersell anything. If this was all fully booked, that would mean that your audience totally saw that there was a weakness in your pricing structure, and they came in and they took the full advantage of it. So based on this, it looks like everything's cool, and you don't have to worry. All right, so that is that. That's pretty much it then, ladies and Rizal, for revenue management today. So just a quick summary. We were making these decision trees, and I would actually encourage to actually create your own decision tree, because later in the future you can just take your decision tree and look at my decision tree and look at somebody else's decision tree, and then you can actually know how somebody does their revenue management exactly through the decision tree. What do you do? What is it? And the key parts in the decision tree are these decisions. What is a yes? What is a no? Sometimes that's very clear, like owner permission, but sometimes it's not so clear, like occupancy, what is high, what is low. So that's where you need KPIs, right? You need key performance indicators to let you know what branch to take. Once you can see the flow of a decision, it makes it a bit easier for other people also to understand what decisions are being told. Okay, that's pretty much the summary of that. How helpful was that, Cynthia?
It's fine.
It's a 5 today. All right, fantastic.
Yeah.
Great. I'm happy I could bring that level back up. Let's see. Rizal, I know you came in the middle. What was your takeaway today at this talk?
Probably I can start a new practice to set the high season price for my property that I manage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. No, don't get stuck, guys. I mean, once again, if you have a decision tree, then it allows you to sort of find your way through. And I think in the future, guys, all we were going to talk about is decision trees. Yeah. The future of revenue management is that all we do is we sit on the decision tree and we decide what should you do in this case, what should you do in this case, what should you do in this case. So we build better and better. It's difficult right now because we have to teach everybody how to do it. But if we can create a plan to show anybody how to do it, then it becomes remarkably simpler, right? You don't have to have so much intuition and whatever. You can just follow the tree and make a decision based on that. Cool? All right. Later on, decision trees, we will essentially look at multiple decision trees and see how these decision trees achieve revenue or don't achieve revenue. And guess what? This also is the ultimate end game, I think, for you guys who want to get bonuses for revenue management. So if your decision tree always works, that means you're good, right? You're a good revenue manager. You have made a decision tree that is essentially effective and keeps us on target. If it doesn't, then learn from everybody else, get those takeaways, and build better decision trees for yourself. Okay? All right, cool. Have a good one, guys. Happy revenue management. Okay, yeah.
Thank you for today.
Thank you for today. Yes, good.